Now that you have identified the course outcomes, which are the big takeaways, big ideas or themes that students are going to leave your course with, which also reflect the knowledge, competencies, and values that you hope to develop in this course, it's now time to start thinking about how you're going to design or organize this course by creating this learning experience for students. Traditionally, a subject matter expert was hired and was given a textbook and then told they were to cover the content in that textbook over the course of 10 weeks. So a subject matter expert in hospitality marketing would take a textbook designed for hospitality marketing and then would decide which chapters would be covered during each of the 10 weeks of the course. While this is an efficient way to cover content, what happens is the student ends up being pretty passive in the process. They see the instructor and they see the textbook as the source of information, and their job is to memorize the information. And then the instructor uses various types of assessments, such as tests, quizzes, writing assignments, and stuff like that, to see how well students can recall that information or show that they comprehend it in some way. At Kendall College, we are looking to change the way we frame our courses and encourage active, applied, contextualized, and experiential learning. Active learning is the opposite of what I just described. Students are actively involved in constructing their own understanding of the information that they are acquiring. Applied learning is when they have opportunities to not only just learn the information, but immediately apply it in some way, either through decision making, problem solving, collaborating, or so forth, which, if you recognize, are our institutional learning outcomes. Contextualized learning is where it addresses the question that we always had in our classes in college, where we always used to ask, why do I need to know this? Contextualized learning is when that learning is put into a context that is similar to what students would actually experience as professionals in their field. Experiential learning is when students have opportunities to actually be in that situation, either doing internships or doing volunteer work or doing field type experiences, where they actually get to be in the situation and applying what they're learning in the course. As a subject matter expert who has been hired to develop a course, such as hospitality marketing, you can begin to think about what are ways in which you can put the learning of this course into a context that students will see as authentic. So rather than covering content in the course, we are helping students to acquire those knowledge, competencies, and values, and then directly apply that through active learning strategies. So for example, if you were to develop a hospitality marketing class, instead of thinking about a textbook, perhaps there's no longer a textbook in the course, over the course of the 10 weeks, students are actively involved in developing a series of projects. In each of these projects is related to a project that a person in the hospitality marketing profession might be doing on a daily basis. Or it could be a long-term project, which contains several parts. After each part, the student is getting feedback from their classmates and from their instructor, which they can then apply and then use in developing a final project that they turn in at the end of the term. Or perhaps the course is organized around an interactive story, a story perhaps about a family that is dealing with the issues that are covered in this course. And then throughout the term, pieces of that story are revealed to students, and perhaps the decisions that they make individually or as a group influence the flow of that story. And as you can see, there are many different ways that this different frameworks can be applied into the course. In your course development handbook, you will see that I've included 6 different examples of different ways that you could organize the course. Here you can see an example of a series of projects. You could see one long-term project that includes multiple parts. It could be a scenario that you've designed that you think is authentic because you're in the profession. So you could think of a scenario that students would be a part of throughout the entire course. It could be an industry problem that the students are actually tackling. That's a real problem that someone in the industry is currently dealing with. Perhaps it's an actual partnership that you have with that industry professional that serves as a consultant to students throughout the term. It could be a global project that involves your students working with students at one of our other laureate schools on a problem that affects both groups of students in both locations. Or an example, again, is an interactive story. So there are lots of ways to organize your course, but keep in mind that we're trying to find ways for students to be actively involved in the learning process so they can apply what they're learning in terms of knowledge and competencies right away. And we're looking to contextualize that learning into some authentic context that relates to what a professional would be doing in that field.